Sloka number 27 from chapter 2. So anyone wants to recite? Okay, you have to recite louder.
जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर् ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपारिहार्ये न त्वं शोषितुं अर्हसि.
Okay, good. And the meaning?
For whoever who lives, they will die. Whoever dies will be reborn. Therefore, you should not grieve for this.
Okay, let me turn on the subtitles. Okay. Okay, so let us start with a question like before. So what happens when evil bodies like coronavirus enter our body? What exactly happens? Coronavirus is evil, right? So what happens? What does our body do?
It tries to fight back.
Right, it tries to fight back. Right? So there is a disease. It causes a disease, right? The body gets into a disease mode, right? And then to fight the alien evil bodies, our body gets into a disease mode and then tries to fight the evil virus to end its acts. Right? That's what happens. Uh, so you all know that the virus is basically our own DNA, right? RNA or DNA. So does the body say, "Oh, it's our own DNA. I don't want to fight"?
No.
No. But is Arjuna following the same thing?
No, not really.
Arjuna is saying they are all my relatives, my uncles, my nephews, my cousins. How can I fight them? But body is not saying that. Our body simply is executing its duty. It's just doing its duty, right? It is trying to fight the virus, although the virus is our own DNA. So the fight happens automatically because it is God's will, right? God has made our bodies like that. Same thing with machines, right? So many machines, this laptop, uh, any machine that you take, your television or your DVD player, your printer, anything for that matter, just does its duty. Whatever is told by its master, it just does its duty. But why does man not like it? So it's almost like the nature's way of doing things is to listen to the master and then follow instructions without any judgment on its own. But then why does man, why is man different? Like Arjuna, who is a great warrior, he himself is different. He's not just doing his duties. He just doesn't want to do his duties. Why? Everything else in the nature just does its duties as told by its master, right? Like the trees grow. Can you stop growing? Can the tree stop growing on its own?
No.
No. The body doesn't stop on its own. The body also doesn't stop on its own, right? It just grows. Can the mind control the body to the extent of stopping its growth? No. So a lot of stuff in this world just happens automatically, right? But man or woman, for that matter, the human being has this, keeps on differing from what is required of him, right? Why? Because God has given a special power to the human beings, the power of discretion, the power of control, right? So, but God wants us to use it in the right way to enhance the nature, to enhance, to make things better, but not to become weak, right? Unfortunately, human beings have been using their mind and discretion to become weaker and do things weak, which make them weaker. They just want to relax. So that is a real misuse of discretion, right? You take anything in this world, things happen. Even our own body follows the laws of nature to a great extent, although we have discretion, right? So God's will is working everywhere. Just the human weak mind is what is causing the God's will to somehow, sometimes break, right? So when there is a weak mind, God has to come to earth to remind us of our duties. Because that's when the mind becomes very, very weak, that's when, and if the person is really important, if the person is just useless, then there are other ways. God cannot come. But some powerful people like Arjuna, when he becomes weak, God himself comes to the earth to help him make the right decision, right? So that is why, and good people automatically go to the God in such situations. Like I told you, right? You remember the sloka, which tells you the state of mind at which you should approach God. You remember that, right? So good people automatically approach God, but because God wants to help them, the good people automatically divert their attention to God, like Arjuna took help of Krishna. Whereas Duryodhana, even though he was given a chance, he did not take Krishna's help, right? So good people automatically approach God in desperate, required situations. So, and God also comes to the person to help the person remember his duties and what the God wants, right? Um, so just like in our human body, evil bodies, foreign bodies have to be eliminated through fighting and disease, and disease is never a good thing, right? So just like that, in real life, to eliminate bad people, war has to happen. When everything else fails, then war has. I mean, an evil person also must be given all chances. You give him full chance to become better, and if the person doesn't become better, often that is the case. When an evil person doesn't be, when he goes, the evilness go to such extent, uh, the evil person will never listen. Any number of chances you give, you will misuse them. The good people quickly realize what is good and what is bad and correct themselves. But the evil persons, they cannot realize what is good. So in that case, war is a necessity. Just like the body fights, good people have to fight a war with the evil people. And just like disease is bad for the body, war is bad for the world. But it is essential to remove the evil bodies. Otherwise, the whole world can get destroyed. The evil spreads, and just like the virus spreads and can destroy the body, right? If the body doesn't fight back. But you should note one other thing. In the process of fighting, the body may not succeed. The body may die, right? So many people are dying because of coronavirus, right? Just because it is going to die, the body is going to lose the battle, it is not stopping the fight, right? It, the body keeps on fighting till the last minute, and then it gives up. So there is no guarantee that the body is going to succeed. Same thing in the war. There is no guarantee that the good people are going to succeed, right? But still, the war has to go on to remove evil. At least we should do we should attempt at removing evil from the earth, from the world, right? Otherwise, evil spreads just like the virus spreads from one person to other and within the body itself. Like cancer is basically it's also like a virus. It spreads throughout the body, right? If it is uncontrolled, then it spreads. You have to fight the cancer right at the beginning. If it is too late and if it is spread everywhere, then there's no chance, right? So before the evil can spread, there needs to be a fight, and that fight has to go on without any feelings. It is a duty. It is a duty. Um, so that is what Lord Krishna tells in the next sloka to Arjuna. So he says, "Hato va prapyasi swargam, jitva va bhokshase mahim." तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः. Once again, हतो वा प्राप्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः. हतः means killed, being killed. हतः. Va means or, either or, right? Cha means and, va means or in Sanskrit. So in Hindi also same. In Hindi also va means or. Um, prapyasi means you will. In Telugu and some Indian language you say prapti. So prapti means you get, you gain. Swargam means the heaven, heavenly kingdom. Jitva means by conquering, means winning. Va again means or. Bhokshase means enjoy. Mahim means the earth. Mahi means earth or the world. Tasmat. What is the meaning of Tasmat? Yeah, in the last look also there was Tasmat, right? So here also same thing. Tasmat means therefore. Uttishta means get up. Like in the morning Suprabhatams, there is this word used quite often, Uttishta. उत्तिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ गोविन्द उत्तिष्ठ गरुडध्वजा उत्तिष्ठ कमलाकान्ता त्रैलोक्यं मङ्गलं कुरु. Goes as a Prabhatam, right? So Uttishta means get up, O God. That's what we say in the Suprabhatam. So here get up means Arjuna's is kind of sullen, right? He's drowned in his own thoughts. So Lord Krishna is saying, get up from those thoughts, become active again. Uttishta means get up. Kaunteya, see another name for Arjuna. See the number of names that Arjuna and Krishna are using for each other. So loving, right? So affectionate. So Kaunteya means son of Kunti. Who is the mother of Arjuna? Pandavas? Yeah, Kunti or Prita, both are our names. So son of Kunti is Kaunteya. Like son of Aditi is Aditya, right? So like that. Yuddhaya means Yuddha. What?
Aditi. That's what
Yeah, the son of Aditi is called Aditya. So just like that, the son of Kunti is called Kaunteya. So Yuddha means war. So Yuddhaya means to fight. Krita means determined. Nishchayaha means certain. Nishchaya is a common word in Indian language. It means certain. So for during the engagement before marriage, they call the process as Nishchitardham. Nishchita means making it certain. The relationship becomes certain during that time. The priest say some words, some mantras to make the relationship confirmed before the marriage. Right? So it's called Nishchitartha. So Nishchaya means certain. So most of these words are still used in Indian languages. So if you know Indian languages, of course not, these words are a little bit expensive words, they are not used often. Um, so you may not have heard them, but these are still in use in Indian languages. Most of these words, like hata, is a word in Indian languages. Va is used in Hindi. Prapya means also used in Indian languages. Swargam is the same word in all Indian languages. Swarga means heaven. Jitva is also Indian language. Most Indian languages have this. So like that, bhokshase, mahi, all these are still used in Indian languages. So it's a simple, these are all common, in Sanskrit they are commonly used words. And if you grow up in India, you'll almost make out almost all these words. So the meaning of this sloka is, slain, thou wilt obtain heaven. Victorious, thou wilt enjoy the earth. Therefore, stand up, O son of Kunti, resolved to fight. So Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, if you are killed in the war, then you will go to heaven. Uh, uh, there's a common impression uh, in our culture that if somebody dies in the protection of others, they'll attain heaven. So actually, what they say is, in another sloka in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that the last minutes, what you do in the last minutes of your life makes a whole lot of difference. So suppose if you think of only God during the last minute of your life, then you'll attain God. So that's why Mahatma Gandhi, when he was shot, he did not say anything. He said, Hey Ram, Hey Ram, Hey Ram, 3 times and he died. See, even that time also Mahatma, that's why he's Mahatma. Mahatma means a great soul. Maha means great. Right? Atma means soul. Mahatma means great soul. So that's why he's great. Even nobody knows when they are going to die, right? But the moment the bullet hit him, he just said, Hey Ram, Hey Ram, Hey Ram, and he fell down to the ground. So he would have definitely reached the God. So that's why the last few minutes, Lord Krishna himself says in another sloka that the last few minutes, if you think of God when dying, you will reach God. So one of the corollaries of that is you should always think about God because we don't know when we are going to die. Right? You saw some WhatsApp videos, right? That some people during the retirement party, the person just collapsed. They were all saying thank you for all your work, hard work, and all that, and he just collapsed and died. That's all. So nobody knows when a person is going to die. So that is why it is said that we should always think of God, so that even if we die at that moment, we will reach the God. But people like Mahatma Gandhi, he was doing something else. He was walking with his followers at that time. So he was doing something. But the moment the bullet hit him, in that very second he remembered God. How many people can do that? So we are not Mahatmas, so we should always, as much as possible, keep on thinking about God. So you should practice when you are small. It is not enough if you practice when you are closer to your old age. If you practice when you are small, the same habit will grow when you grow up. Right? So the last moments play a big role, even for sleep. If you meditate and sleep, the whole sleep and your next day morning will be very peaceful, clear, and active. You'll feel very active, right? So the last minutes of sleep or death, or before death or before sleep, they play a very important role. So if it is sleep, it plays a very important role during the sleep and the next day morning, the last few minutes before the sleep. Similarly, the last few minutes before the death plays a huge role in what the Atma does before it takes the next birth and for the next birth also. Because death is like sleep, right? For the soul, death is like the sleep. There's nothing that the soul needs to do during when the body is not there, right? Everything that the soul needs to do has to be done through body. When the body is not there, it has nothing to do, just like sleep, right? So the last few minutes before the sleep and before the death are very important. So there is a belief that if somebody dies protecting others, like in a war, right? Why is a war fought? To protect others, right? Why does Krishna wants Arjuna to fight the Kauravas? To protect the world from evil people, right? Um, So if somebody dies protecting others, that means selfless death. It's a very noble deed, right? Selfless. You're not thinking about yourself. You're fighting for your life to protect others. It's a great deed. So when somebody dies doing a great deed like that, they automatically go to heaven. That is the belief. So Lord Krishna is saying that if you die fighting this war, you will go to heaven definitely. On the other hand, if you win the war, if you are victorious and you're able to destroy the enemy and destroy the evil, then you will enjoy the earth. The whole world is peaceful now when the evil thing is removed, right? And the world is peaceful and it's all yours. You are the king. You will enjoy. So what are you going to lose? Either ways, you are winning. If you die, you go to heaven. If you win the earth. So either in both cases, you're happy, right? Then you have the entire earth to yourself, and you have the entire, or if you go to heaven, you are still happy. So either ways, it's who is going to win. So therefore, O son of Kunti, stand up and did become determined to fight. So change your mind. Yeah, last week we talked about something called avitthana, right? Lord Buddha said, talked about avitthana. Avitthana means determination. So when you meditate, your mind goes here and there, here and there, here and there. So you have to keep on getting that mind back to the focus, typically the breath, right? So just like that, the determination should be there. Through meditation, you can develop the determination. But Arjuna, by birth, has the determination. There's a story. The Pandavas and the Kauravas were all learning. They had a common teacher. You know that, right? They all learned in olden days. I mean, it is somewhat similar to um, today also. That concept is still there. It's called Gurukul. So students go to the Guru and they live with him. And they learn a lot of things together. So the same thing. Their teacher, Kauravas and Pandavas' teacher was Dronacharya. So Dronacharya, teachers can identify who is the best, but of course through competitions and by intuition also they can identify. So Dronacharya um gives a test to all the students. He says he puts a, a bird, a picture of a bird uh, on a tree, and then he says the competition is to hit the bird in the eye, the drawing of the bird in the eye. What is it?
I know.
Yeah. So they hit the bird in the eye. So he calls one after the other. He calls somebody like Duryodhana, and then he asks him, what is it? He says, come on, get ready to take the test. And then Duryodhana raises his bow and aims at the bird's eye. And then Dronacharya asks Duryodhana, what are you able to see? Then Duryodhana says, I'm able to see the tree, the sky, the leaves, I'm able to see everything. He describes whatever he's able to see. Then next he calls some other, Nakula, Sadeva. They all say, I'm able to see the leaf. Then some other person says, I'm able to see the bird. Then finally he calls Arjuna. Then he says, what are you able to see? And Arjuna says, I see the eye. Yeah, you see, Arjuna says, I only see the eye, nothing else. So everyone asks him, you're not able to see the leaves, you're not able to see the tree. He says, no, I'm only able to see the eye. So that is the kind of focus he has. He is so determined. He is already determined. In spite of being so strong, his mind became.
That's how he got the target.
Yeah, that's how he got the target. So he never misses the target. If he aims at something, he will get it. So that is the reason why Krishna says, "O Kaunteya, be determined." Krishna already knows that Arjuna has that determination to achieve what he wants. So he is asking him to be prepared for the war, be determined to fight the war, do not become weak. That's what he's saying. In general, you can extend this sloka. So you understand the meaning of the sloka, right? So you can extend this. How can you extend this sloka in your real life?
Like being determined to ignore your cravings.
Yeah, ignoring the cravings is one thing, right? If cravings are basically weaknesses. So if you crave for something, it becomes a weakness. It will bind you to what you crave for, which is dangerous. So that's why you should, as much as possible, you should not have any cravings, right? See, like Arjuna
I still
has,
have cravings. I still have TV cravings.
yeah, but that's not, you're still small. So slowly you should eliminate those cravings, right?
But sometimes it can be dangerous for you.
Yeah, sometimes it can be dangerous. The cravings can be dangerous. If they're not controlled, they can become very dangerous. All addictions, they are really very dangerous. In general, we should never get addicted to anything. So in this case, Arjuna is addicted to relationships. He has a craving for relationships. He loves his cousins, his children, his nephews. He has those cravings. So that is the reason why he is kind of becoming weak because of his cravings. Good. But in general, what you should take from this sloka, by the way, this sloka is still in chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga. The sloka number is 37. So this is the sloka number, chapter 2, 37. See, 2 and 3 look the same as in English, right?
Yeah.
Almost. This is 7. Slightly inverted. In English, it's slightly inverted. The same 7. Okay, so it is 37 sloka. So we are still in second chapter, and second chapter, like we talked, is the most important chapter. It kind of summarizes the entire Bhagavad Gita. It's like a prelude to the entire Bhagavad Gita. So it has all these valuable lessons. So this is a very important sloka because in you do anything, even if you fail in doing something, you are still the winner. What do you gain by failing? You gain the lesson, right? See, if you open Amazon's website, if you search for jobs on Amazon, Amazon, you know that, right? It's one of the richest companies in the world today. So Amazon, if you open Amazon's website for jobs, it says that some of their best projects arose from ashes. That means from failures. So that is the reason why they insist, even during the interviews, they insist on failures. Like in Tech Challenge, we had spectacular failure, right? There is an award for spectacular failure. So failures are really important because that's how we are going to learn. Remember the loss function? So when the loss function plays a big role. So when is the loss function high? When you fail, right? It's a big lesson. So you should not be too scared of doing things. Should not be too weak to go away from doing things. You should still do it. If you fail, then you get a valuable lesson. If you succeed, you will gain something, right? If in a company, if the project succeeds, the company becomes rich, like Amazon. In '98, Amazon was a small website. No one knew that it will grow to this level. So if it succeeds, then we gain something. If we fail, then we gain a lesson at least, if not anything else. So the same. See, these slokas have a lot of meaning. If you memorize the meaning and the sloka, you should whenever such context comes, you should remember the sloka and apply the sloka. If you automatically apply the sloka, you still have to remember the sloka. So just to reinforce, see, God also said the same thing, and I'm doing what God said. So always remember that whether you fail, you should not be worried about failing or succeeding. You should do what is right. If you fail, you gain something. If you win, you gain something. There's no absolute failure. There's always something that we gain, whether we fail or succeed. We are only gaining. So that is the reason why we should never go back from action, never go back from duty. And we should keep on working in productive ways. We should keep on improving ourselves and keep on doing tougher and tougher tasks. See, this world really needs people to solve tough problems. There are some really very tough problems. See, like coronavirus is such a tough problem. So many people are dying because of coronavirus. The economy is sinking in many countries. That's another tough problem. So the world it keeps on getting tough problems. And who can solve tough problems?
Tough people.
Tough people. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. The tough people get going, right? Only the tough people can solve tough problems. So we want to become tougher and tougher. And laziness is not going to help. When you're lazy, when somebody is lazy, they become weak. They will not become strong. They will not become tough. So it is actually the laziness which hurts. Because of laziness, we lose opportunities, we lose time, and body will also decay if you don't use it, right? Anything that you don't use will slowly die, will become ineffective, will become weak. And if there's something, see today people who are active, they're fit and active physically. They're able to fight coronavirus very well. They're surviving. But people who are inactive, either because of the age or because of their nature, they're they're succumbing, they're dying because of coronavirus. They're not able to fight. Why? Because their body became weaker because of laziness. Whereas people who are doing HIIT and jogging and all that stuff, their body and their mind become strong, and they are able to fight. Why is there so many WhatsApp videos going around asking people to do exercise, various exercises to strengthen your body, to strengthen your lungs? Why are they showing them? Because strength will help you fight evil. Weakness will not help you fight evil. In fact, it will make you lose. So it is the laziness which hurts, not the activeness. So laziness also, you will lose a lot of opportunities. Now suppose there's an opportunity to learn something really. For instance, this class, there's an opportunity to learn so many good things. But if you are if you have a craving for watching TV and you feel lazy, oh, what's the class about? I know all this Bhagavad Gita. What is there? And then you start watching TV, then you lose opportunities. So laziness will make you lose opportunities. Then you lose time, right? Laziness. There are so many couch potatoes, particularly in rich countries like USA, because they can afford for it. They earn enough that they don't have to work so much. So they become couch potatoes. They sit in the couch and then keep on watching TV. So they are losing time also. They are losing opportunities. They are losing time, and slowly the body will decay quickly. See, people who are active, they are able to live till, like people in politics, for instance, they are living for 90s. Most of the presidents of the United States lived till the 90s, right? Why? Because they kept active. Their mind was active, and they were sought after. Many people asked for their opinions, their this thing. So when somebody is active, the body also does not decay so quickly. The decay means slowly become uh, weak, right? So body also becomes active when the mind is active and you are working most of the time. So many people think that they think that hard work will destroy them, but the other way is correct. I mean, the hard work will actually do good things to your body. Laziness destroys you, um, right? So, so even though there was no certainty that Arjuna is going to win, he has to fight, just like the body has to fight coronavirus. And similarly, we have to do our work, irrespective of whether we are going to win or lose. Action is important, uh, not the result. Right? Either way, we are going to win. But if we don't do the action, then we are going to lose. Laziness makes us lose, not action. So that's what Lord Krishna is saying in this sloka. Um, yeah, on the chat window, my daddy does exercise every day. Yeah, see, everyone. Uh, like when I was coming to US, people in US told me that your lifestyle is just like the US lifestyle. I was in India at that time, and they said that your lifestyle is very much like US lifestyle, because I used to get up in the morning, go jogging on the street, and then I used to go to office by 7:15. 7:15, a bus used to come, and then we had to be in the office by 8:15. And then I used to come back at 4:30. And for some years, I did masters, and the other years I taught. I taught students computer science. So my day used to start at 5 or 5:30 and end at 10:30 typically, 10 or 10:30, right? So that hard work. I mean, that's what people said. US, most of the people in US are like that. They wake up early, they go jog. In India, it was not like that. Very few people go out for jogging. Even today, it's like that. Today, at least the fitness centers have come up, so people are going to the fitness centers. But during those days when I was in India, people hardly exercise. At most, the exercise meant walking. So some even today it's like that. People go to parks and walk, but they don't do anything really strenuous like jogging and lifting weights, and those kind of stuff is somewhat relatively less seen in India. Whereas in US, it's very common doing hectic, strenuous exercises, working hard, right? Most of the average American is hardworking and disciplined, very disciplined, even today. So, yeah, activities help us, whereas inactivity uh, makes us weak, right? God has made the nature is itself made like that. Right? Uh, And the other example that we talked about in the last class also, the computer operating system, right? There is something called operating system inside the computer, which takes the jobs. Like what are the jobs that are running on this laptop?
The presentation,
The PowerPoint presentation,
WebEx,
WebEx, and a few others, which are not really known to us. Like there is a microphone, there's a driver for the microphone, right?
video.
Yeah, video. So all those programs are running on this machine. Now this machine obeys our instructions, even if the program can crash it. See, in a few years back, laptops used to crash very often. Not only laptops, machines. They used to crash. Crash means you will get a blue screen. So you have to go power off the machine and restart it very frequently. Not at least quite a few times in a day. Why? Because the machine would execute a program which would cause it to crash. The program would would kill the machine, the program, actual machine's program, but still it would run it. See? So it just does its duty. It doesn't think, right? Um, so doing duties is very important. Doing what is expected of us is very important, not the outcome. We should be like the computers, like most of the machines. They just do what is told to us, and they don't worry. Machines don't worry, right? Same thing with human beings. We should not be worrying. We should just keep on doing duties, whatever is expected of us, right? So that is a lesson from this sloka. Okay, any questions? Clear, right? Okay. Now let us look at the goals for these classes. What are we trying to achieve through these classes? So first thing is highest form of knowledge and happiness, right? So the knowledge that we are learning is of highest form. There's no knowledge beyond this because it helps you live the right life, right way of life. and that is the ultimate. It is the knowledge about the life, right? So that is the reason why it's highest form of knowledge. See, many accomplished people, like there are some movie actors, very accomplished, and they committed suicide. They just ended their lives. See, in spite of their knowledge, in spite of their reputation, even my classmate, the best outgoing student of our batch in our school, he ended his life. He was a topper in medical. He was becoming a doctor, and he ended his life. See, that knowledge did not protect him. The knowledge about medicine did not protect him, although it is very high. I mean, doctors are regarded very highly in this world, right? Because they save lives, right? Even that knowledge did not help him when it came to his sadness. But this knowledge that we are learning through Bhagavad Gita, it is highest form of knowledge that can help you. If they believed in Bhagavad Gita, if they knew Bhagavad Gita, if they put it in, just knowing is not enough. You have to put it into practice also. Then they would not have done this. So Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas, and all ancient scriptures which stood the test of time, they provide timeless knowledge that will never fail us. I mean, they have survived through the times, right? Millions of years, this Vedas, this knowledge has survived, millions of years. So when it has survived so many years, obviously it will never fail you. When you implement knowledge, when you take that knowledge inside you and start implementing it, it will never fail you, right? So that is why it is supreme knowledge. And appreciate key verses in their purest form. So Bhagavad Gita slokas, we are learning them in the purest form. There are many classes on Bhagavad Gita today, but most of them, in fact, when I was small, not as small as you, but slightly 14 years, like I used to go on bicycle, 13, 14 years, maybe 14 years. I used to go to on bicycle to a you remember the book I showed you? So I got it, and my parents got it from Ramakrishna Ashram, I told you, right? So this Swami is from the Ramakrishna Ashram. So I used to go to that Ramakrishna Ashram on bicycle. Uh, so yeah, so they conduct a lot of classes on Bhagavad Gita as well. So I attended those classes also, Bhagavad Gita classes, when I was small. But most of the time, and even today, many Swamijis come to US to talk about Bhagavad Gita. I attended a few of them in US also. Most of the Swamijis, what they talk is a derivative of the Bhagavad Gita. They say that they are going to talk about Bhagavad Gita, but it's mostly a commentary, their own interpretation, their own lessons, management lessons. Like one Swamiji presented management lessons from Bhagavad Gita to corporate world. He went to industries, companies, and he explained how Bhagavad Gita can be applied to management, right? So that's all derivative. It's not pure, right? Bhagavad Gita, but we are learning the purest form of this knowledge. We are learning the Sanskrit slokas, and we are learning its meaning, and then we are looking at the interpretation. So we are getting the knowledge in its purest form. So that is the second goal. The third goal is to learn Sanskrit, at least to some extent, because Sanskrit is our culture. Samskruti means culture. It's a way of life. Sanskrit is not a language, but it's a way of life. That's what I keep telling people. Sanskrit is a way of life. So this is a great opportunity to learn Sanskrit. So Sanskrit has all these analytical ideas like sandhis. You combine two words together, and you learn how to split the words. So there are a lot of analytical skills built into Sanskrit. So if we stayed with Sanskrit, then I think we would have been much more intelligent and analytical today. Unfortunately, Sanskrit lost its purity over time. It is still there. A lot of words that Indian languages have are based on Sanskrit, but the purest form, the purity has gone. So fortunately, through this learning, by learning Bhagavad Gita, we are also learning a bit about Sanskrit. And then, so Sanskrit really improves analytical skills, like we talked, right? Subtle things. When your analytical skills improve, why do you have to improve analytical skills? When you start analyzing, you will start seeing subtle things which are often taken for granted. And lot of problems in the world, they can be solved in a very simple way when you go deep to that subtle level. Subtle means very delicate levels. So to go to those levels, you need analytical skills. That's why analytical skills are so important when you do research and all that. What is research? And you're inventing a vaccine for coronavirus. It is research. How do you invent? So you have to analyze, go deep into the knowledge, and then look for solutions there in that depth. And the solution might be very simple, right? A lot of medicines are taken from small, simple things, right? A lot of, but you should be able to see that, and that can be seen only when you have analytical skills. And Sanskrit has those analytical skills which are built in. So Sanskrit gives us the ability of seeing things which others can't see, right? Even poets, it is said that poets can see where the sun cannot see. Sun can see everywhere, right, in the world. So there's a saying in Telugu that Ravi Kanchani Chotu Kavi Kanchana. That means Ravi means sun god. Kanchani means cannot see. Chotu means location. Kavi Kanchana means the poet can see. Why? Poet has those analytical skills. Poets, professionals, they all need analytical skills. So they are able to see finer things, very fine things. So that's why, and Sanskrit helps us gain those uh, analytical skills. So you should, now you're in a listening mode mostly, but as we progress in the classes, you should be able to contribute to the discussion. Your thought process should ideally improve, where you can start talking about the sloka yourself, just like I am talking. You should also be able to question, like we started with the question in today's class, right? So this like that you should question, and then think deeper, and then you should be able to contribute the discussion in these classes. Um, right? So the important thing is to apply. When will you be able to do that? When will you be able to contribute to the discussions? When you understand the lessons and you apply those lessons to your daily life. So make sure that you consciously apply what you learned in this class in your day-to-day life. So for instance, when your body feels lazy and then you want to watch TV or just play with play small games, remember the sloka. What sloka is that? The sloka that we covered today, right? Hato va prapyasi swargam jitva va bhoksha se mahim. So remember that action is important. Laziness makes us weak. Action is makes us strong. So remember the sloka and change immediately. Get up from think that Krishna is asking you to get up from those weak thoughts to become strong. Just like Krishna is asking Arjuna to wake up from the weak thoughts and become stronger. So keep on applying, right? So that is very important. So eventually, when we complete Bhagavad Gita, the goal is to memorize 101. We are going to cover 101 verses. See, 101 in English means basics, right? So we will be covering 101 slokas. So we have the grounding in Bhagavad Gita. And if you become really interested, read the other slokas also on your own. But in the class, we are going to the goal is to memorize 101 slokas. So we are going to talk about the sloka, we are going to recite the sloka, and then after the class, you'll have to memorize it so that you learn Sanskrit and you can start applying the sloka to your daily lives. And meaning is important. Just reciting is not important, is not as important. Reciting with meaning and remembering them often. You have to keep on remembering them often. Then the knowledge gets internal, it becomes internal. You will imbibe the knowledge and then you will start applying automatically. So that is the fifth goal. So memorizing is very important. Memory plays a huge role, you know that, right? And if you don't use memory, it will become weak with time. Anything that is not used will become weak. So that is the reason why you should memorize as much as possible. Memorize. And Bhagavad Gita is the supreme form of knowledge. So memorizing these slokas is the best way to improve your memory. Okay, that's the fifth. Okay, we will look at sixth and seventh in the next class. So we'll conclude. Any questions?
No, but I have a comment.
Yeah, good.
Um, so like when back to the time when we were talking about in this class, when we were talking about the time, uh, so like like the parents when you grow up, so when you're a kid, you wouldn't probably have cravings and things. But when you're a parent, like when someone puts food in front of you and you're supposed to eat it, you just eat whatever in front of you. When you're a parent, but if you're a kid like me, then you probably like if it's yucky, like broccoli or something, then you would say, no, I don't want to eat it, and then you would try eating something more sweeter like donuts or cake.
Yeah, why is that?
Because
First thing is knowledge. You don't have the knowledge that cravings are bad. In fact, in the Western cultures, you are taught that cravings are good. They keep on asking you for favorites. What is your that favorite, this favorite? They tend to make favorites a big thing in life. So lack of knowledge is one, and the other is lack of strength. Kids are not strong, right? Not yet strong mentally. They have to get that strength. Some kids are very strong. Like when I was a student, there were classmates. I always used to think, why am I not like them? They would stand on their word. They would talk very little. They used to. I mean, you can easily make out that they are stronger than you. So I always used to think, why am I not that strong? So it comes with practice, knowledge and practice. You have to keep on practicing. See, in India, it's a common practice to not eat in parties much. They go to all these marriage parties, there's tons of food, very delicious food. In India, particularly, the parties, you really love them. The marriage parties, particularly, the food is like, oh God, it's really delicious. But many people, they eat very, very little. to just give an impression that they are decent, they are strong, they are not for cravings. Just to indicate that they are strong. Like I used to go with my friends. My friends wouldn't eat them, particularly my friends' families. I mean, wives. They wouldn't eat um, there. So, so the reason is because they don't want people to think that they have this craving for food and all, right? So they are able to control their craving. I mean, no human being can resist delicious food, right? But they are able to do it. So, so that the strength grows with age if you practice. Otherwise, if you don't practice, then you become weak anyway. But if you keep practicing, so that's the reason why it's important to keep practicing, becoming strong, not becoming weak. Right? Weak you can become anytime. You can become a couch potato anytime. Right? Uh, See, when you study potential energy in your science, you will learn this. A stone at the top has a lot of energy. A stone on the at bottom has least energy. So it is easy to go from high energy to low energy, but it is difficult to go from low energy to high energy. So that's why you should keep on practicing going from lower to higher energies.
Like climbing up a hill is more
Yeah,
harder than going down it.
yeah. So that is called potential energy. The potential energy is more at the top of the hill. The potential energy is low at the bottom. So it is very easy to fall down, but it is very hard to go up. So you should always keep trying to go up, gain more and more energy, become stronger and stronger. Energy means strength. In energy, the rate of energy is power. In science, rate of energy is called power, and power is strength. Another word for strength. So you should try to gain more and more energy, right? Okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay, then let's end with the sloka. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. See you. We'll continue in the next class.